During the coldest phase of the last ice age, roughly 26,000 to 19,000 years ago, winter was not just uncomfortable for prehistoric humans. It was one of the deadliest forces they ever faced. Huge glaciers covered vast parts of Europe, Asia, and North America, turning the landscape into a frozen, open world where brutal winds moved across the land with almost nothing to stop them. Trees were scarce, shelter was difficult to find, and food could disappear for months at a time. In conditions like that, an unprotected human could die within only a few hours. The problem was that humans were not naturally built for extreme cold. Unlike mammoths, they had no thick fur or heavy fat layer. Unlike cave bears, they could not simply hibernate through winter. Unlike reindeer, they could not easily migrate long distances every time the cold became unbearable. Human bodies evolved from warmer climates, so the ice age placed them in the wrong body, in the wrong environment, at the worst possible time. By biology alone, humans should have been among the first species to disappear. But they survived because they had something more powerful than fur, claws, or fat: intelligence. Instead of waiting for their bodies to evolve natural protection, humans invented artificial solutions. They learned to plan before winter arrived, cooperate in groups, build shelters, preserve food, control fire, and pass survival knowledge from one generation to the next. Every winter became a life or death test, and every successful generation carried forward the lessons of those who survived before them. The Ice Age proved that human survival did not depend on physical strength alone. It depended on preparation, adaptability, technology, memory, and collective knowledge. Ancient humans survived winter not because they were made for the cold, but because they learned how to outthink it. Fire became the foundation of human survival during the Ice Age because without it, almost nothing else worked. Archaeological evidence shows that humans had controlled fire for hundreds of thousands of years, but during the harshest winters of the Ice Age, it transformed from a useful tool into an absolute necessity. Fire provided warmth against freezing temperatures, light during long dark nights, protection from predators, cooked food, and extra hours each day for planning, tool-making, and social connection. Ancient fire pits discovered in Ukraine reveal that Ice Age humans were far more skilled with fire than most people imagine today. Some carefully constructed fireplaces reached temperatures above 600 degrees Celsius, and when wood became difficult to find across frozen open land, humans even burned animal fat and bones as fuel. Fire alone, however, could not fully protect people from the cold once they left the campsite, so humans learned to carry warmth directly on their bodies. Early humans first used animal skins and bear fur as simple coverings, but survival changed dramatically around 30,000 years ago with the invention of the sewing needle. Tiny bone needles allowed humans to create fitted clothing with sealed seams, sleeves, layered insulation, mittens, and boots that trapped body heat much more effectively than loose hides. Hunters also rubbed animal fat called tallow onto exposed skin to block freezing wind and reduce heat loss. Even snow blindness became a danger humans learned to solve by carving narrow slits into bone or wood to create primitive snow goggles that reduced glare from reflected sunlight on ice and snow. Shelter construction became equally advanced. In regions like Mesorik in Ukraine, humans built circular homes using mammoth bones and tusks covered with hides, moss, mud, earth, and snow for insulation. Many shelters included cold trap entrances designed to keep freezing air lower than sleeping areas, allowing warm air to remain trapped above where families rested. These inventions became humanity's artificial replacement for the fur, fat, and natural cold defenses other Ice Age animals already possessed. Surviving an Ice Age winter required far more than simply finding warmth for a single night. Ancient humans understood that winter was a long battle of preparation, planning, and cooperation that could last for months. Starvation became just as dangerous as freezing temperatures because plants disappeared, animals migrated, and hunting opportunities became far less predictable during the coldest seasons. To survive, humans developed remarkably advanced food preservation systems long before modern technology existed. After large hunts, meat was carefully processed instead of being eaten immediately. The freezing environment naturally preserved food, while smoking and drying turned meat into long-lasting supplies similar to jerky. Humans also dug underground storage pits and cold cellars where low temperatures helped keep food fresh throughout winter. Some archaeological evidence even suggests that mammoth meat was weighed down and stored in freezing ponds like a natural refrigerator. Almost nothing from an animal was wasted because every calorie mattered when survival depended on preparation months in advance. Hunting itself became highly organized and strategic. In eastern France, Ice Age hunters repeatedly used teamwork, fire, and natural rock formations to trap entire herds of wild horses and reindeer over thousands of years. These hunts were not random acts of survival, but carefully planned operations designed to secure enough food for long winters ahead. Human communities also survived because they depended heavily on one another. Large groups intentionally slept together inside crowded shelters because human body heat became an important source of warmth during freezing nights. Living alone in harsh winter conditions dramatically increased the risk of death, especially for elderly or weaker individuals who could not survive without support from the group. Winter survival therefore depended on communal living, shared labor, shared food, shared knowledge, and constant cooperation. Ancient humans survived not as isolated individuals but as tightly connected communities working together against an environment that could easily kill anyone who faced it alone. Humans gradually adapted to extreme cold, not only through tools and shelters, but also through behavior, physiology, and creative use of the environment around them. Over thousands of years, certain human populations became remarkably capable of surviving in freezing climates that should have been deadly for a species originally evolved in warm African environments. One striking example comes from the Yagan people of southern South America, who lived in bitterly cold regions while wearing surprisingly little clothing. Their bodies adapted by producing more internal heat than most modern humans, allowing them to tolerate freezing temperatures far more effectively. They also used specific resting positions, such as deep squatting with their limbs pulled close to the body, which reduced heat loss and conserved warmth. Ancient humans learned to use the natural environment itself as protection against the cold. Snow, despite seeming dangerous, became one of the best insulating materials available because tightly packed snow traps heat and blocks freezing wind. Moss, mud, pine pitch, hides, and underground shelter construction all helped seal warmth inside homes during harsh winters. Human survival depended on constantly experimenting with anything that could preserve heat or reduce exposure. The content also explores one of the strangest and most controversial ideas connected to Ice Age survival: the possibility that some early humans may have partially hibernated during severe winters. Researchers studying bones from the Pit of Bones site in Spain discovered unusual growth interruptions similar to patterns seen in hibernating animals. Some scientists proposed that ancient humans facing extreme cold and starvation may have entered prolonged low-energy states to survive difficult seasons. Although the theory remains heavily debated, it highlights how dangerous Ice Age winters truly were and how far humans may have gone to survive them. Whether through physical adaptation, creative shelter building, or unusual survival behaviors, humans continuously adjusted themselves to conditions their bodies were never naturally designed to endure. For hundreds of thousands of years, winter was one of humanity's greatest and most relentless enemies. Every cold season brought the possibility of starvation, freezing, sickness, and death, and survival depended entirely on preparation long before the snow ever arrived. Ancient humans had to gather and preserve enough food, maintain shelters, create warm clothing, secure fuel for fires, and rely heavily on cooperation within the group, simply to survive until spring returned. A single mistake could be fatal. Running out of food, losing a fire, or becoming isolated during a harsh winter storm often meant death. Yet over countless generations, humans slowly transformed winter from a deadly force of nature into something manageable through intelligence, learning, and technology. The same species that once stacked mammoth bones into circular shelters and burned animal fat for warmth eventually created insulated homes, layered winter clothing, heating systems, refrigeration, and electricity. Compared to the enormous timeline of human history, this transformation happened incredibly fast. For most of our existence, surviving winter required constant effort and fear, but modern humans now experience warmth almost automatically with the push of a button. The video emphasizes that humanity did not defeat winter because human bodies suddenly evolved to tolerate freezing temperatures better than other animals. Humans survived because they continuously improved their survival systems through invention, planning, experimentation, and cooperation. Every generation inherited knowledge from those who survived before them and added new solutions of their own. Fire, sewing needles, insulated shelters, preserved food, and social cooperation slowly evolved into the advanced technologies that protect modern society today. Winter remained humanity's enemy for thousands of generations, but humans eventually overcame it through adaptability, collective intelligence, and the ability to learn faster than nature could destroy them. The modern world is built upon survival knowledge created by ancestors who spent their entire lives fighting against the cold simply to stay alive.